You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
When the gates of earth won't let you out, this is where you fall down. You weren't ready when heaven rained down in a storm cloud. Speak on the back page, dripping in a joke in a seascape. In your love shell, you weren't ready to meet the angels. When you fall, then it don't. When you care, then it won't. You weren't ready when heaven rained down. When you fall, should've cared. When it's
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. I think we know this. I think that we know that it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyway, today is Monday, April the 6th of 2026. Yeah, I almost said 2028 for some reason. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Yep, kind of going all across the multiverse there on that side of the equation. So anyways, how have you been? How's the last, 72 or so been for you? I always ask that question because I'm always kind of curious on what the hell's going on during your weekend. Over here, well, as you probably know, if you're in the U.S., more than likely you either celebrated Easter or were affected by Easter. And people go, what do you mean affected by Easter? Well, there were stores that were closed, restaurants that were not open, that kind of stuff. The restaurants not open thing always kind of surprises me, but stores not opening, I get it. But that's it. That's that's the stuff that happens here. So let's start talking. Our show, if you have not been here before, and if you have been here before, thanks for coming back, consists of safety in the news and safety. That's kind of what we do. We talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and then kind of give you everything that we have, and then kind of pile it up and go, voila, and take it back for you to actually take a look over what's going on. So what we'll be doing today is covering all the major news stories that are going on. I know, had to sit through some of that stuff. And then we'll give you some main story towards the middle of this thing. And then we start running. So if you're good with all of that, so we'll start it right away, get it moving. So we have some professional broadcasters that come in and they'll start talking away about what the hell's going on just for emphasis. And outside of that, if you want to interact with the show, all you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, boom, audio, video, or text messaging are the options of the things that are going on. So a lot of stuff, little time, the way that it goes. So if you're good with this, I'm good with this. We'll start moving and grooving right away about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because I do have my friends from Feature Story News waiting in the wings going, okay, if you're ghetto, I'm ghetto, and then we can get this moving. So I say we get it moving right away as we get into all of the stuff that's going on inside of the world of the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha Punia. After US President Donald Trump once again threatened Iran with attacks, Tehran has hit back. A statement released by Iran's highest operational military command unit says, if attacks on civilian targets are repeated, the next stages of our offensive and retaliatory operations will be much more devastating and widespread. This after US President Donald Trump seems to have extended his deadline for Iran, now saying if Tehran doesn't open up the Strait of Hormuz by Tuesday, the US will attack Iran's power plants and bridges. Jagrati Dave has more.
President Trump writing on Truth Social, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. This is a stark contrast to the message of peace that came from another American leader, Pope Leo, in his first Easter sermon. And as you can imagine, there has been a lot of different reactions to the president's post. Democrats have been swift to condemn it. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote on X, as you head off to church, the President of the United States is ranting like an unhinged madman. Former Trump supporter Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's against US intervention abroad, said everyone in his administration that claims to be a Christian needs to fall on their knees and beg forgiveness from God.
President Trump is also expected to host a news conference on Monday. Bob Martia is reporting.
The president joined Fox News Sunday and said if they don't make a deal and fast, I'm considering blowing everything up and taking over the oil. The president is expected to speak at 1 p.m. Eastern at the White House to discuss the latest developments in the war. A second F-15 crew member is reportedly being treated for serious injuries after being rescued a day after his fighter jet was shot down over Iran. The pilot was rescued shortly after ejecting from the aircraft on Friday. Sources told the New York Times the rescue of the co-pilot on Saturday involved U.S. Special Ops teams who engaged in a gun battle with Iranian troops.
Trump's latest threats have seen oil prices jump to $110 a barrel before retreating during morning trade in Asia. This as China says it's willing to cooperate with Russia at the UN Security Council ahead of a vote on a resolution to protect shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. China's top diplomat Wang Yi spoke to his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in a phone call on on Sunday, as Laura Westbrook is reporting.
Wang says the fundamental way to resolve navigation issues in the Strait of Hormuz is to achieve a ceasefire as soon as possible. A Russian Foreign Ministry statement says the ministers discussed ways to achieve a rapid ceasefire and launch a political diplomatic dialogue. China has repeatedly called for a ceasefire and urged an end to fighting, which has seen the crucial choke point, the Strait of Hormuz, significantly blocked for weeks, disrupting energy supplies, particularly to the Asia-Pacific region.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on the weekend's dramatic events in Iran that led to the successful rescue of the two-member crew of an F-15 shot down by the Iranians. But as President Trump celebrates the dangerous military mission that led to their extraction, how is it possible that the Iranians shot them down in the first place, given the president and his top aides keep insisting Iran's military capacity has been decimated and obliterated? Charles Kupchan is a senior fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations in Washington and served in the National Security Council in the Obama and Clinton administrations.
We're now more than a month into the war. The U.S. and the Israelis were claiming that the air defense system in Iran was basically gone and that the U.S. and Israel had complete control of Iranian airspace. Well, doesn't look like that's the case. So I think it's safe to say that this is a war that has blown up in ways that Donald Trump did not expect. Exactly how he gets out of this, when he gets out of it, very unclear. I think many of us were expecting in his primetime speech some kind of detail about negotiations, about an end game, about opening up the Strait of Hormuz. But we really didn't hear anything to give us a sense of a light at the end of the tunnel.
How the president intends to find that light within the next 2 to 3 weeks, as he'd claimed, remains completely unclear. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Iran is warning of devastating and widespread operations if the US goes ahead with its warning of hitting bridges and power plants in the country. US President Donald Trump seems to have extended his deadline for Iran by 24 hours, saying Tehran must open up the Strait of Hormuz by then or face more attacks. China says it's willing to cooperate with Russia at the UN Security Council ahead of a vote on a resolution to protect shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. And that is the latest from Feature Story News. I'm Neha Punya reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, I don't know if it's that kind of risk that you have to be listening at your own risk. Maybe it's more along the lines of just looking at it and saying, hey, enjoy the ride. Okay, so let's start talking right away about some of the things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's just kind of what we do. So should we start off with the odd or should we start off with the normal? I don't know. Let's start off with the odd for a moment, even though we don't have that many normal as of late, but that's okay. So a Woodstock, Georgia pug is lucky to be alive after a violent raccoon attacked it in its own backyard. The pug, Roro, yeah, that's not a made-up name, was playing outside when a raccoon suddenly pounced, dragging and wrestling the dog across the yard. The dog's owner, Sean Yanes, sprinted in to save him, only to end up in a full-off physical fight with the raccoon himself. The entire scene was caught on video and shared with local news stations. Quickly going viral in the footage, Sean tries everything, kicking, grabbing, and even using a long stick, but the raccoon refuses to let go. At one point, he loses his balance, rolls down the yard, and then gets back up and keeps on fighting. Sean's wife eventually rushes out, slipping down the slope, and she tries to help. After a frantic struggle, the couple finally manages to free the pug and the raccoon to retreat to Roro. Sean and his wife appeared on Inside Edition talking about the whole mess, just for, I guess, for the sake of doing so.
Sean Yanis took his dog Roro out in their yard like he always does when he saw a raccoon and didn't think much of it. But seconds later, things got crazy.
Start filming it. Like, oh, cool, raccoon. It's going to show the neighbor's kid.
But seconds later, that raccoon charged at Sean Yanis' dog, Roro, clinging onto her tail without letting go. Yanis says the leash came out of his hand and the raccoon drags Roro down. Yanis, in his house slippers, eventually falls while trying to fight the raccoon off.
Kick, slip. I roll her down to there, get a stick, come back up and start smacking it with the stick. 3 times I broke the stick across its back.
His wife then comes out to help, and Yanis gets the raccoon in a headlock until it released Roro's tail.
Once we got to flat ground, then it was on, because I wasn't falling anymore, and I wore it out.
Roro and her owners are okay after vet and doctor visits.
I didn't know what it was at the time. I just knew we had to get them apart from each other.
The family now looks back and says it could have been worse.
We're constantly looking to see if we see it. I mean, our neighbors have a 1.5-year-old. Like, again, the situation could have been so much worse than it was.
For Roro, it's as if this never happened. Her owners describe her as a bit dramatic and definitely spoiled, so to see her back to her normal self is a relief. Yena's son even made a funny edit of the video once they knew everyone was okay.
She acts like nothing happened. We brought her back out here this morning to the scene of the crime and oblivious.
And the family's next steps are to try and capture the raccoon to make sure this doesn't happen again with the help of wildlife experts. In Woodstock, Yasmina Alston, Atlanta News First.
Okay, so there you go. So, row. I mean, what an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know. It's just something to start off with, opposed to going into the deep and scary for a moment. Okay, take a listen to this one. Scientists are stunned after studying a 17-year-old girl known as TL, who appears to have memory so powerful that it borders on mental time travel. According to a new case study, TL could recall any day of her life in vivid scene-by-scene detail, complete with emotions, visuals, and even the ability to zoom out and watch herself from the outside. She describes her mind as a bright white archive room filled with filing cabinets where every memory is neatly stored. Researchers say that it has a hyperthesmia? Okay, or high superior autobiographical memory, an extreme rare condition where personal memories never fade. But TL goes even further. She can also imagine future scenarios with the same cinematic clarity, and as if she was watching a movie trailer of her own life. Scientists stress that these aren't predictions, just incredibly detailed simulations. Her everyday factual memory is normal, but personal memories are high definition. Brain scans suggest unusual strong wiring in areas linked to self-reflection, emotion, and imagining the future. Only a handful of people have these kind of cases that exist in the world, and TL kept her ability a secret for years after being accused of making things up as a child. Researchers say that she's the first fully evaluated case showing such a broad mental time travel across both past and the future. Discovery that could help unlock how memories, imagination, and identity intertwine. So what do you think here? I mean, I find this like super interesting. We could probably spend hours talking about the case, trying to have a better understanding of everything that's going on. So what do you think here? Just an interesting one when it's all said and done. So let's see, what else do we got? A Dutch city council has been kicked out of her potential party after editing her official publicity photos so heavily with AI that she became virtually unrecognizable. Patricia Reichman, a 59-year-old representative of Rotterdam, submitted a campaign photo so dramatically altered that voters and even her own party said it looked like a completely different person there. Duh. Reichman said that the image was real, claiming that she only used an online tool to boost the resolution and that the differences were due to medication. But side-by-side comparisons went viral, and even later the party Liftbar Rotterdam acknowledged that the photo is clearly AI enhanced. They asked her to resign. She refused so they expelled her, saying trust was broken and the image was not realistic representation. Reichman continued to defend herself and even saying that often mistakes her for her son's girlfriend because she looks so young. But the controversy and the internet didn't buy it. The whole saga has now become a global example on what happens when AI filters collide with public office. I mean, this reminds me of some of these news stories that I hear that these people are like, oh, they pay to talk to somebody online. Don't even ask about that portion, and a person on one of the sides is using a filter, and if they move too fast, the filter kind of freaks out. Sounds a lot like that to some extent as we are talking. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other stuff. Idaho Domino's pizza driver kind of gestured leads to a $40,000 tip from a stranger after a viral video. A Domino's delivery driver in Boise, Idaho, 68-year-old Dan Simpson is heading into retirement with an unexpected windfall after a simple act of kindness went viral. When his store ran out of Diet Coke, Simpson made a quick detour to a convenience store to buy 2 bottles for a customer, Brian Wilson, who didn't answer the phone to choose a substitute. Simpson delivered the pizza and sodas without expecting anything, telling Wilson it was a good tip, even though Wilson had no cash on hand. The moment was captured on TikTok, racking up more than than 600,000 views, and inspiring Wilson to launch a GoFundMe for Simpson, who is retiring on April the 30th and has struggled financially. Donations have now topped $40,000. Wilson later revealed that he and his wife are visually impaired, so Simpson's small gesture meant far more than he realized. Simpson, who works nights delivering pizza to supplement his state job, said that the response feels surreal. He's been open about his past, including serving time for a DUI, getting sober, and rebuilding his life, and says that he's always tried to help others because he knows what it's like to be down and out. Now, thanks to the viral moment, Simpson is heading into retirement and financial cushion and hopes to use the money to finally visit Redwood Forest or maybe even Hawaii. As Wilson wrote, the world needs more dance. So there you go. Some interesting stuff going on there. Okay, I know. I need to get a little bit some more serious stuff, because that's kind of what happens around here. I still got a lot of stuff to cover, but man, I know we're here for the seriousness. So let's get into this for a few minutes, because that's what we have to do.
So let's do that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Gas prices are climbing fast across the U.S. as the conflict with Iran continues to push crude oil costs higher. The national average has now hit $4.11 per gallon, up 86 cents in just a month. According to AAA, nearly every region is feeling the surge, with the West Coast seeing the steepest jump. California is averaging $5.92, and Washington sits at $5.37. On the East Coast, prices have just crossed the $4 mark in several areas, including Washington, D.C. at $4.27 and New York at $4.06. The Midwest is kind of mixed up, with Illinois standing at $4.29, while much of the region remains mid $3. Southern states are still cheaper by comparison, but rising quickly. Texas and South Carolina are right at $3.82, and Florida is up to about $4.20. Diesel is seeing even sharper spikes, a now average of $5.61, up $1.45. In San Francisco, diesel has crossed $8 per gallon for the first time ever, the highest recorded in any city. The rising prices come as President Trump issued a new profanity-laced warning to Iran, giving the regime until tomorrow to reopen the strait. So what do you think here? I don't know. We are definitely going to get a little political today in talking about some of this stuff, but it's the stuff that's going on, so let's talk about that. Okay, so take a listen to this. President Trump has escalated his warning to Iran, telling Fox News correspondent that if Iran does not reach a deal with the United States soon, he is considering blowing up everything up and taking control of the oil. The comments came hours after a fiery True Social post, which Trump threatened massive strikes on Iran's power plants and bridges if the country does not reopen the strait by Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. The threats follow a series of U.S. Israeli airstrikes that destroyed Iran's tallest bridge last week, and attacks that Iranian officials say that killed 8 people and injured dozens more. The B-1 bridge linking Tehran to Kajat was hit into waves of strikes. Trump remarks that it also came as the U.S. military completed a dramatic rescue of 2 F-15 airmen who ejected over Iran. One pilot was recovered quickly, while the second, a colonel, spent nearly 36 hours evading Iranian forces in mountainous terrain. Hundreds of U.S. special operations personnel, drones, and aircraft were involved in the mission, which included destroying stranded U.S. aircraft to prevent them from being captured. Trump praised the operation as one of the most daring in U.S. history, noting that both airmen were recovered without any American casualties. So there you go. So what do you think here? I mean, it's definitely an interesting time as we are talking. So I don't know. So let's continue, because I got some more. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. So President Trump announced on True Social that Vice President J.D. Vance will serve as the administration new fraud czar, overseeing efforts to investigate what Trump described as widespread fraud across the country. In his post, Trump said that Vance will be everywhere, but primarily on blue states, listing California, Illinois, Minnesota, Maine, and New York as example. He accused the Democrat officials in those states of allowing large-scale misuse of taxpayer money, and claimed the amounts involved are so significant that recovering them balance our American budget. Trump added that raids have already begun in Los Angeles and wished that Vance good luck in the role. So the announcement frames that Vance as the point person for the administration fraud-related initiatives, working alongside other officials within the Trump administration. So what do you think here? I mean, it's definitely some interesting times as we are talking. So let me give you one more before I go into something else real quick. A federal judge has temporarily blocked Trump's administration from forcing public universities to hand over 7 years of administration data, part of its efforts to ensure that schools are not considering race in the admissions. 17 states sued to stop the data demand, and the U.S. District Court Dennis Saylor issued a preliminary injunction allowing universities to hold their own records until the case goes to trial.
Duh.
In his ruling, Saylor said that the administration push for rapid data collection was rushed and chaotic, and noted the administration separate plan to dismantle the Department of Education could make the data collection impossible or even unlawful. He wrote that the federal DOE and the National Center of Education Statistics have the authority to conduct such surveys, meaning that the authority would vanish if the departments were shut down. The administration has been working to enforce the Supreme Court's 2023 decision of ending affirmative action in college administration, part of the broader opposition to diversity, equality, and inclusion programs. Meanwhile, 20 states are also suing to block the administration's efforts to dismantle the Department of Education, which was created back in 1979. So there you go. Okay, take a listen to this because, we are in space,
baby.
The 4 Artemis 2 astronauts kicked off day 5 of their mission yesterday with the wake-up song Working Class Hero by CeeLo Green. As their Orion spacecraft prepared to enter the moon sphere, a gravitational influence, NASA says the mission remains right on track. The crew is now roughly halfway through their 10-day journey, which will take them farther from Earth than any humans have ever traveled. The path includes a precise maneuver that will sling them around the far side of the moon before sending them back home. So there you go. Oh, I can only imagine the stories about what the hell's going on over there as we are talking. Some people are probably going, oh, the far side of the moon, the dark side of the moon. And of course, the music's coming to your mind in regards to talking about that. But man, what are they going to be the stories of once you got to the dark side of the moon, there was X, Y, and Z. You kind of already know that this is where this is going. So there you go. Now, sit back for a moment, and I'm going to have to share this with you. But I want you to be fully aware of what I'm saying because this is a recall issue real quick. So take a listen very, very closely. More than 3 million bottles of over-the-counter eye drops have been recalled nationwide after manufacturer KC Pharmaceuticals said that it could not guarantee that the products were sterile. The recall covers about 3.1 million bottles across 8 different eye drop varieties sold at major retailers including CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Kroger's, Publix, H-E-B, and others. The FDA classified it as a Class 2 recall, meaning the risk of serious health issues is considered remote, and the agency says that consumers may continue using the eye drops unless told otherwise. No injuries have been reported. KC Pharmaceuticals, one of the largest private label eye care suppliers in North America issued a voluntary recall on March the 3rd. A full list of defective products, lot number, and expiration dates is available at the FDA website. So think about this for a moment. If you did not know this, and this was actually done on March the 3rd, and we're in April, why in the hell did it take so long for this to start being reported? Maybe that's the question that one should be asking. I'm just saying, keeping it real.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, we do this thing that we call the main story around here, and we sometimes talk about stuff that people like and some people don't. So right now, if you look at the cultural and political landscape, people are absolutely losing their minds. There are massive sweeping structural shifts happening across institutions, and everywhere you look, people are running around with their hair on fire. I don't have that problem, of course. And clutching their pearls and screaming, "Oh my God, I cannot believe that they are actually doing this. How could this happen?" The questions. And I sit back and I watch the collective panic, and I ask the very brutal question, the rated R question. Why in the fuck are you surprised? Like, seriously, we're not going to turn into a partisan political debate, but we are going to look at the mechanics of what is happening. The architects of those shifts didn't hide in the shadows. They didn't launch a sneak attack over a year ago. They literally published a 900-page manifesto. Let's just call it the 2025 blueprint, just to kind of be on the safe side here. But that outlined exactly page by page, department by department, exactly what they were going to do. They handed the public the exact operating manual, and yet when they executed the very first page of the playbook, society acts like it was an ambush by ninjas in the middle of the night. Seriously. Now, the phenomenon is that this willfully systemic ignorance is fascinating. But here is the reality check. This is not just a political phenomenon. This is exactly how we survive the Black Iron Prison. This is exactly how the corporate safety matrix operates every single day, and it is getting people killed. Let's drag this right down to the concrete and the production floor, because that's what we're going to talk about. Corporations pull this exact same maneuver all the time. A new executive team comes in, or a private equity firm buys out the facility, and they roll out a massive new initiative. They call it efficiency blueprint, or lean management integration, or strategic restructuring. It comes with a 300-page slide deck, a bunch of corporate buzzwords, and an email from the CEO talking about synergy and working smarter, not harder. If you strip away the PR bullshit and actually read the document, the blueprint is telling you exactly what they're going to do. The document says we're going to run a skeleton crew, we're going to slash a preventative maintenance budget by 40%, and we're going to speed up the line. We're going to prioritize production output over human redundancy, and they're going to give you they're giving you the exact same playbook. They're telling you in black and white that they are engineering a highly fragile, high entropy environment where a catastrophic failure is a mathematical and inevitable of it actually happening. But what does safety department do? Well, we ignore the blueprint. We buy into the cognitive dissonance, and we print out the fresh batch of safety first banners. And then we hand out the new high-vis vest, and we desperately try to convince ourselves that the company cares about the frontline workers. And we ignore the 300-page manual that literally proves that we are expendable, because facing that reality is too terrifying. Then 6 months later, the inevitable happens.
It happened.
A pump seal blows because it hasn't been serviced in 2 years. A 5,000-pound piece of machinery crushes a worker on the third shift because they were forced to bypass a guard to hit a new impossible production quota, and the facility catches fire. And what happens next? The grand theater surprise begins. The C-suite executives fly in on the corporate jet, looking incredibly somber. The safety manager shakes their hands in disbelief, and they bring the investigators. They stand around the blood on the concrete, and they ask the exact same fake performative question. My God, how could this tragedy occur? And I will tell you exactly how it occurred. It occurred because the system executed its programming perfectly. It happened because it was written on page 42 of its own damn operational manual. Do not stand there and act shocked when a sociopathic system does exactly what it promised to do. When you design a system to run what we say hot, fast, and cheap, and you strip away all physical defensive, you are not experiencing an accident when it breaks. You are experiencing an outcome. The system is working exactly as designed. The tragedy isn't just the cost of doing business factored into a spreadsheet that you refuse to read. Why do we do this? Why do safety professionals, frontline workers, and citizens constantly ignore the blueprint, staring right at their face? Because reading the blueprint requires you to wake up. It requires you to look at the black iron prison and admit that people are turning the keys, do not care if you make it home to your family. I know. It is so much easier to step away. It is so much easier to believe that the corporate slogans do your behavior-based safety observations and pretend that you are in control. And if you admit that the blueprint is real, you are morally obligated to fight it. And fighting the Matrix, well, it's quite exhausting. Duh. But if you don't, or let me say that properly, if you want to be real with a safety professional, if you want to actually carry the signal, disrupt entropy, and you have to stop acting surprised, you have to boot up the cognitive operation system. When the executives drop a new efficiency initiative on your desk, you engage the Philip K. Dick space. You view the document with extreme paranoia. You assume that the PR language is a lie designed to hide the kinetic threat. Then you engage in the signal. You decode the noise. You translate the lead manufacturing into what it actually means for the human being on the floor. Less sleep, more stress, broken equipment, higher risk. And finally, you engage in Jeet Kune Do. You strip away the useless illusion. You walk out onto the floor and you tell the truth. You don't let the executives act shocked when things start breaking. You point out directly the blueprint and you say, "This is what you built. This is the reality that you engineered. Stop blaming the human glitches for the system that you designed to fail." You have to read the fucking manual, is what the problem is. Whether it's 900 pages manifesto or a 50-page corporate restructuring plan, the villains are in the story rarely hide. They are arrogant. They love to tell you exactly how they are going to crush you. And the greatest trick of the Black Iron Prison ever pulled wasn't hiding the bars. It was convincing you to ignore them while they built the cage right in front of your face. So here's the challenge. Look at your own facility. Look at the initiatives being pushed down from corporate. Are you playing along with the theater of surprise? Or are you going to act shocked when the inevitable finally happens on your watch? Stop listening to what the system says in the press release and start looking at what the system is physically building on the floor. Read the blueprint, accept the brutal reality of what you are up against. Only then can you start building physical defenses that actually matter. And don't be surprised. Just make sure that when everything happens, you truly are prepared.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Here we are, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Yeah, this right here you're taking a listen to, this is Oceanic. This one's called When You Fall. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So some options. So listen to When You Fall right here. Hold on. He's going to slow it down for a moment.
We all know why we're here.
Listen. See, I like me some music right now. All right. It's a good one. Give us some streamer-eamer action, no doubt about it. I like it. Here we go. Okay, so we would definitely like to thank Oceanic for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's start talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse. If anything, let me tell you about this one, because this might be the most important thing that I ever tell you in my lifetime. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. So there you go. There you go. A lot of stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do when we talk about it. So take a look at that website, because I'm going to tell you, it could change everything for you. No doubt about that. So let me tell you about this, because we got a little bit of time to discuss this one. Yep, we got an event coming up in Orlando, July the 13th of 2026. Reality Shift. Yep. That's what's taking place, an observational symposium. We're going to have Nick Weatherly there talking about behavior-based safety. We'll have Todd Conklin having a discussion about human and organizational performance. We'll have a version of a documentary/movie taking place also on that day. And then we will also talk about Signal Trilogy when it's all said and done. So, fun-filled day happening in Orlando, July the 13th, 2026. We'll be doing this one at a movie theater called Reality Shift, is the way that we are naming this one. There is a QR code right there on the screen, or if not, you go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io to find out more information. So I'm going to tell you this about this one. We have foundation pricing that is occurring. I believe it actually goes bye-bye on the 10th. So if you want the tickets at the lowest price that you'll be able to acquire them, that is taking place right now at safetyfm.io for this event. It's going to be much different than most events that we've ever done, because this is the first time that we are doing it in a movie theater. No, seriously, we're doing it in a movie theater because I figured we should do something different on that day. July 13th, it is a Monday. People are going, why is it on a Monday? Now we can hang out the weekend in Orlando. Duh. Come on, man. So there you go. A lot of stuff. So with that being said, safetyfm.io for more information. We'd love to see you there here in Orlando. Okay, so with that being said, let's talk about this. I do have John Smalls waiting in the wing. He wants to tell you what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute. So if you're good with it, I'm good with it. We can have him come in, talk a little bit about this, talk a little bit about that, and get the world rolling, because that's just kind of what John does. So let's go ahead and do the Motivation Minute right now.
The Motivation Minute. Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Brian. Simon Sinek said, "Leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge." Excellent quote. Have you ever been in charge? I have. Many times, actually. But I'm going to tell you about the first time, because I felt like I was in way over my head. I was 29 years old. I'd been in radio for about a dozen years, but I'd never been the one in charge of much. I'd been a manager, but only for a few people. Then I accepted a sales manager position. I told the company I would stay for at least a year no matter what. I wanted to quit on my first day. I was in over my head. My local boss was not a nice man, and I was in charge of 20 salespeople. I was younger than most of them. I walked into that with many questions, but I was blessed to have some really good people who joined me on my mission. Together, we made a really big difference that year. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
8 shoppers suffered burns after a man went on a rampage setting fires at a mall in Boulder, Colorado on Sunday morning.
Police rushed in and nabbed the suspect right away with no shots fired or escapes. Victims got fast medical aid at local hospitals. Authorities called it an isolated act with no ongoing danger. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A stray bullet from a drive-by shooting in Brooklyn killed a 7-month-old baby boy in his stroller on Sunday afternoon, police confirmed.
The infant died, despite desperate efforts by medics at the scene. Cops nabbed one suspect already and hunt a second tied to the moped attack. The commissioner labeled it a heartbreaking tragedy on city streets. Jessica Oakley reporting.
NASA shared breathtaking new photos Sunday captured by Artemis the to astronauts, showing Earth in stunning detail from deep space orbit.
The images highlight swirling clouds, glowing oceans, and city lights at night. Astronauts beam them down during their ongoing mission prep. Space fans praise the views as a reminder of our fragile home planet. Kyle Norris reporting.
Trump fired off a blunt, expletive-filled warning to Iran on Sunday, demanding they immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz to all shipping traffic.
The heated message came as US and Iranian forces clashed in the region over vital oil routes. Trump called out blockades hurting global trade. Officials say talks continue, but military options stay on the table. Chris Anderson reporting.
Secret Service agents probed reports of gunfire ringing out overnight near the White House on Sunday, sparking a quick security lockdown.
No one got hurt, and early checks found no direct threat to the grounds or people inside. Investigators combed the area for clues on what sparked the shots. Details remain limited as the probe goes on. Gary Beck reporting.
A driver plowed into parade goers celebrating Lao New Year in rural Louisiana on Saturday, sending at least 15 people to the hospital with the injuries.
Sheriff's officials arrested the driver, who showed clear signs of being impaired at the time. They stressed the crash did not appear intentional in any way. Ambulances and helicopters rushed the hurt revelers to care. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In a heartwarming space milestone, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman sat for a primetime chat on CBS's Face the Nation, sharing bold visions for America's next moonshot era.
The former astronaut-turned-leader detailed Artemis progress and private sector boosts to rocket travel. He spotlighted crew training wins and upcoming launches that thrill science buffs everywhere. Isaacman's passion lit up the screen, proving bold dreams still soar high above. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
We are radio. We are sarcasm. We are both combined. Radio Big.
Yeah, we are both combined. That is for sure. As we are talking, let's do this real quick.
The top spot at the box office this weekend. At the box office.
The box office roundup.
The weekend box office.
At the box office this weekend.
Okay, so you know it is Monday, so we have to talk about what the hell happened in the box office because some people will care about that. Do they not care? Am I making this up as I go? I never know. I always think it's important. So let's talk about this. 10-1. Coming in at number 10 was Undertone, $1.1 million. Number 9, Ready or Not Part 2 with $1.82 million. And number 8, Denabar, The Revenge, $1.82 million as well. Number 7, They Will Kill You, $1.93 million. And number 6, A Great Awakening, $2.1 million. And number 5, A Reminder of Him, $2.2 million. And number 4, Hoopers. Or is it Hoppers? $5.8 million. And number 3, The Drama, $4.4 million. Number 2, Project Hail Mary, $30.7 million. And Super Mario Galaxy at the number 1 spot, earning $130.9 million. So as you are aware, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close on what the hell was going on there today. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk about some things going on or that happened back on this date. Back in 1954, TV dinner is first put on sale by Swanson & Sons. Let's see, in 1979, Rod Stewart and Elena Collins wed. In 1994, Chuck Jones found guilty of breaking into Marla Maples' home. So there you go. That's the things that happened back on this date. If you're looking at some celebrity birthdays for today, let's see. Barry Levinson, 84. Marilu Henner turned 74. Paul Rudd, 57. Zach Braff turns 51. And Candace Cameron Burr turns 50 today. So there you go. That's DJ Tanner from Full House, just in case if you were wondering. She turns 50 today, so there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Here are Friday's winning Mega Million numbers, in case you did not know this. 31, 45, 62, 63, 68, and the Mega Ball was 15. Here's Saturday's winning Powerball numbers. Jackpot was $217 million. 3, 6, 13, 41, 65. Powerball was 1. Power Play was 4. Since there were no jackpot winners tonight, Powerball climbs to $231 million. So there you go. Some things to think about as we are talking. Okay, in some other news, let's talk about this. President Trump has issued a new ultimatum to Iran, telling the Wall Street Journal that Tehran has until tomorrow evening to open the strait or face major U.S. strikes or critical infrastructure. In an interview, Trump warned that if Iran doesn't act, they won't have any power plants. They won't have any bridges standing. The strait, one of the world's most important oil choke points, has been the center of rising tensions as the conflict continues, after Trump later posted online simply writing Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, without mentioning Iran directly and adding to speculations about what could come next. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. We will be talking about the world of music and entertainment over there. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. No doubt about that. So if you need some words of wisdom for today, I have that for you. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn, and guess what will happen? You will. And if you need some advice for today, store extension cords in an empty paper towel tubes. No more tangled spaghetti monster in the garage, if you kind of think about it in that fashion. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
When you care, then it won't. You weren't ready when heaven rained down. We fall. Should've cared. When you see we fall. Should've cared. When you see saw through you. I saw the way you called it. Yeah, I saw the way.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.